Call the meeting to order. Moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. Okay. Roll call, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Kindle. Councilwoman Costantino.
Present.
Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman Pies.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Stawicki.
Here.
Councilwoman Williams.
Present.
Councilman Toussaint.
Present.
Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney DeWally.
Here. All right. We have a presentation, so we need a motion.
Okay.
We're going to do the presentation first. Okay. We'll call Mr. Winborn.
Okay, go ahead and start.
Go ahead.
All right, well, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor and council members here. I'm Charles Jennings. I represent Winborn Consultants. We're the firm that was contracted by the city to perform a study of fire protection services in the city. And so tonight I'm going to give you a presentation, roughly 30 minutes, which will outline our key findings in support of the report that's been submitted to the city. And I think the questions will come from council at the end, although if anybody wants to reject or increase it. I'll try to, I'll turn my back to the council. So as I indicated, contracted with Winborn to conduct a review of the financial costs and the level of service provided in terms of fire protection. History, which is probably known to many of you, that the city originally maintained separate and distinct police and fire departments. The city moved in 2013 to create a public safety department, which is not at all uncommon in this part of the country, and certainly not in this area. 1993 we moved to public safety. In 2013 we spun EMS off the fire department and put that into a private provider for EMS transport. And many of the changes that they are other communities were driven primarily by financial demand, the ability to provide fire, rescue, and police services in a more cost-effective manner. The methodology that was used in the study, the first was to gather information. It was a site visit conducted by members of the team. There were 3 to 4 of us who worked on the project, a project manager, on the fire specialist. There was a budget and communication specialist, and 2 of them who lived out in the report. We interviewed 2 of the firefighters. We interviewed numerous city staff, city leadership, and gathered extensive documentation. The second was to analyze the data that was provided to us by the city in all areas of the department's operation, include personnel, facilities, equipment, related expenditures, which resulted in an assessment of the current level of service being provided. And then the third part of the report was to conduct basically an analysis of that findings that were related to both operational compliance, insurance, service delivery, and cost. And those were summarized in the report. So the city stopped hiring single role firefighters in 2012, which means that traditional title of firefighter, the number of positions has been shrinking over the years. At the same time that was going on through the public safety structure, the city began hiring cross-trained police officers to perform firefighting functions as CSOs. And there's still kind of common perception within the community. It's public safety department, it's attention on with the police, and then fire, even though it's probably the public safety department, kind of has its own reputation as a separate entity. The fire department operates from one station here at the City Hall complex. That dates to the original construction. It's a 5-bay facility, meaning it can accommodate 5 vehicles. Of course, with the new structure of the department, there are a limited number of personnel on duty, and the fire department's amount of equipment that it operates has also been reduced. And so that facility is fairly lightly utilized in terms of the overall space and the number of personnel assigned to work there. The location of the station is quite suitable for protecting the city. The map that you see here is 1.5 mile driving distance. That's significant simply because the insurance industry, through an organization called the Insurance Services Office, basically gives credit to properties within 1.5 miles of a fire station, and we really cover the vast majority of the city in that one location. The condition of the fire station is, I would say, fair. I'm not an architectural or engineering professional, but it's been maintained. There are some maintenance issues that have accumulated over the years. Programmatically, because of the imbalance in space in that facility, and it was designed for a dedicated fire crew and is now being shared with the public safety officers, it's not as efficient as it could be. The bunk room here, which you can see in the picture, the number of people on duty is usually no more than 2, and so there's ample space for that, and that has been reconfigured into basically individual offices for each firefighter. There are some plumbing, structural, and other issues. The facility, the building has no facilities for women, which could absolutely be a concern moving forward. And the city does have a plan for repairs and investments to the facility. So it's a 5-bay facility, as we pointed out. At one time, it had a significantly larger complement apparatus. What you currently have are these 3 pieces now: 2 engines, which are basically pump, water, ground ladders, when you typically respond on any fire incident, and a utility vehicle, which is just a Ford Explorer and a carry-all, which originally was intended for EMS response, but it's now kind of used for any purpose when you don't need to be taking out the heavy apparatus. The most recent piece is from 2014. The second engine, the Sutton, which is the manufacturer's name, dates to 2000. That was purchased from another municipality, and that piece is 22 years old, which is nearing the preferred lifespan according to the national standards for fire apparatus. Although again, it appears to be in decent repair and it's very lightly utilized because it is used strictly as a reserve piece from one primary ones down. So to assess current fire operations, we use a very data-intensive process, and so there are 3 record sources that we relied upon for our analysis. The first is the computer-aided dispatch data. This is the data that's held in essentially the public safety answering point of the 911 center here in the city. And that is kind of regarded as a definitive set of records in terms of response times, numbers of incidents, etc. The second is the National Fire Incident Reporting System. These are fire incident reports that are prepared by the firefighters, and a report is produced for each incident. And these will be the definitive source for information on the actual kind of book of business of the fire department. And then third is fire department data logs. These are maintained by the firefighters, and this is basically a kind of Excel spreadsheet that keeps a running tally of incidents. Over the course of the data we analyzed for the study, which was 5 years, there were some missing data, and some of the coding on that was a little inconsistent, and so that factored into our use of those records, as we will discuss later. Looking at the current demand for service within the fire department, and I apologize for those of you in the back of the room, it's a little small. You'll see the bottom line numbers from 2017 to 2021, from 1,694 up to 2,549 incidents. The bulk of those incidents are medical responses in which the fire department is responding to medical calls in conjunction with Bedstar ambulance. The second most common is automatic alarms, which is pretty typical. And then lift assist, which is to assist people who have fallen. And so kind of a service call to the community. Sometimes it might go to the EMS. You can see a number of other categories there. These categories come from the CAD data. CAD stands for staff. And in terms of trends, fairly stable. EMS has gone up somewhat over the last few years with COVID. It's a little difficult to predict because there was a downturn in demand during COVID when a lot of people for non-severe situations did not want to call an ambulance and go to the emergency room. So that demand rate has gone down a little bit. So the city currently employs 6 firefighters. And those personnel assigned to 24-hour shifts. There are 3 platoons or 3 shifts. This means that each shift ideally is staffed with 2 personnel. The reality, however, is that they do not count for lead. And so there are times when the city is staffed with 1 firefighter. And right now there are personnel on lead, long-term lead of various sorts, which is putting additional stressors on the ability to provide that staffing. The firefighters are represented under the National Association of Firefighters, that's the labor organization, local number 1188. The city's labor agreement dictates that the city maintain a minimum of 6 firefighter pilot personnel, which is what they currently have. 3 of the personnel are designated lieutenants, 3 are captains. Those fire employees are trained and certified for Michigan to national standards to serve as incident commanders, and that's an important distinction, which we will talk about a little bit later. The firefighters are also certified as paramedics, and so they essentially perform the roles of paramedics as well as firefighters. The labor agreement mandates that firefighters respond to EMS, or emergency medical services incidents. And the way that they are alerted right now is the fire department is notified of all EMS responses, and then they will respond to those incidents based on the call. There were adjustments, obviously, with COVID. There was less responding going on in order to try to avoid exposure of the personnel. When fire arrives first, because of their training, they can take immediate interventions to provide assistance to the patient. When they arrive after the ambulance and Bedstar, they would assist them, and of course, because of their training, they can work side by side to do that. Administrative and record-keeping duties, and even though you have a small number of personnel, there are a number of functions that must be fulfilled in terms of state records for training, continuing education, maintenance of equipment, all the daily things that go on to maintain the organization. Those are all split among the firefighters. And for fire incidents, in terms of how they operate, so when you do get a call for service, the on-duty fire personnel, whether that's 2 or commonly 1, are met on scene by the public safety officers. And so the public safety officers, to the layperson's eye, are police officers. They are cross-trained to provide firefighter capabilities, and so they are dispatched at the same time. Those cross-trained public safety officers will respond to the scene. They will meet with the firefighters who are on the truck or the engine, and they will assemble and they will do their thing. Now, in reality, Sometimes the firefighters arrive before the public safety officers. Sometimes the public safety officer or two may arrive prior to the fire apparatus. And sometimes, depending on the nature of the incident, public safety officers may not respond initially because it's kind of a minor incident. Fire may go on their own. So, to get a better understanding of this, and this data we did get from the fire department's data log, we look first at the number of firefighters. We say here, these are the firefighter positions, the on-duty firefighters. And because we would expect you've got maximum shift staffing at 2, that would be the most you would get. You'll see there's a very small number of incidents for which you have more than 2. That likely would be an incident, a serious incident, or something that come in from off shift, or maybe something that occurred near a shift change and somebody else was available. A very small number of incidents, but with 0. In most cases, it's 2, followed by 1. You'll see that number of responding fluctuates. It's been in the 80s and 70s. It's been as high as close to 90% in 2020. It's low now, starting on about 80% in 2021. Interestingly, in 2022 year to date, as to April 1st, it was down to 56%. Of the time, you had 1 dedicated firefighter position working out. This is basically just a reflection of your shift staff. It's not like somebody's standing back and setting somebody up on themselves. Right? Whatever they've got to do, they're going to get on that engine and they're going to go to provide the service. Now, that doesn't tell the complete story. You want to look also at your public safety officer staffing, because again, they are providing the strength of response to supplement the firefighters. Again, these are numbers based on the fire department's data log. In most cases, there are no PSOs responding, but again, this does not necessarily correlate to the severity of the incident or how that incident is reported. And so, you should not read anything extraneous or bad into that. But you'll see 1 person responds, 1 PSO on 14.5%, 2 on 26.1%, and 3 on 2.9% of incidents in 2022 year to date. Now, if you look at previous years, it's a little bit higher. And in some cases, the maximum we had 5 or more, you can see that it's a handful of cases because the number of fire incidents when you go back is comparatively small. So when we combine both the firefighters and the public safety officers, we just add those numbers up, put them into this table, and so this gives you the total number of personnel who are essentially responding on scene for a particular incident. Again, this represents all incident types, everything from the grass fire in the median of a highway to smoke coming from a house. And so you can't characterize it too much, but this gives you an idea of where we are in terms of the numbers of personnel who are able to respond on incidents. And so we see we do have around 20%, 15 to 20% of the time we've got 4 personnel, which would mean 1 to 2 firefighters and 2 to 3 PSOs, depending on the staffing. So this, again, as I indicated, doesn't really tell you the most important thing, which is what is the staffing on the most severe calls for service. And so this is not a perfect analysis, but it's the best we can do with the data that we had. And so one of the concerns with staffing, or when you're looking at staffing for fire protection, is that there's 2 situations. One is the situation as it is dispatched. And there are a large number of incidents that may start out as someone saying, there's smoke coming from our neighbor's house, and that's dispatched as a house fire. And you may get there, and that may be steam from a dryer vent, which turns very quickly from a very severe call to a very minor call. On the other hand, there are those situations in which you may be dispatched for
an automatic alarm in a house, and you get there and there's smoke coming from the building on fire. And so you have to capture both of those. So these incident types are based on what the fire department put down. So this represents what was actually there, not how it was dispatched, but what was there. And as we see, in terms of structure or house fires, some of these categories have been aggregated from the fire department's records. So essentially, there were 41 of those that we looked at, an average of 4.6 personnel responding. Okay, so not so bad. We'll talk about that number momentarily. And that is an average, right? That is not every single instance. That means there's some that are more, some that are less. The second is stove-related, or basically a stove fire. Stove fire very quickly can become a kitchen fire, and so that's a real on-the-edge kind of incident. There were a similar number of those, and we had 3.2 personnel responding on average. Odor of smoke, again, depending on the nature of that's as far as I'm concerned, that's a serious call, so for the building. That doesn't necessarily, I don't know if that's all odors of smoke, including indoor and out, but there was 2.6 personnel, and then a reported kitchen fire, there were 10 of those, and we had 4.2 responding. So again, assuming you had 2 firefighters on duty, we're talking 2 PSOs, 2.2, 2.6. Of course, in reality, no such thing as a part of a PSO. So the statistics here, looking at response time, this was based on the fire department's incident reports. These are NFIRS reports. NFIRS stands for National Fire Incident Reporting System. It's a standardized reporting system used across the country. In the state of Michigan, it's required by law the fire department to use these reports. Response times were between 3 and 3.5 minutes to incidents, which is good. And again, that comports with what we've seen when we were here. We did have the opportunity to attend a fire, actually a vehicle fire, and a dispatch. Now, there is a little noise in this in terms of which is the first arriving unit, which is a PSO, when the fire effort is, but there's nothing here. The drive times and lease times agree very consistently, and so the response times are good. EMS transport, as we had indicated before, has for many years now been performed by a private sector company called MedStar. The city is happy with the level of services provided. MedStar provides service to not only Harper Woods, but a number of municipalities in the area. And there's a lot of advantages to having that because they have a larger number of units they can call on and move around as demand dictates. This is beneficial to the city because it's a lower cost for operation. They have greater capacity, as I indicated, and it avoids a large managerial burden of managing EMS transport, which is a lot of regulations, a lot of mandates and requirements to deal with. So let's talk about mutual aid. Mutual aid is a term that's used when essentially another fire department has to come in to provide assistance, or when your fire department, Harper Woods, goes to a neighboring community to provide support. Mutual aid is a fact of life in the fire service, and so there's nothing wrong with that. Your primary mutual aid partners, and we have a long-standing mutual aid agreement with the Grosse Pointe community, and your dispatch criteria are such that in the event of a reported working fire, there is an automatic aid call. If a working fire units get on scene and confirm that, then additional units are called. You can also get mutual aid from St. Clair Shores at East Point, although we are not first up for mutual aid. And you also are required to provide mutual aid under the terms of that agreement. And when you provide mutual aid, that agreement requires that you provide 3 personnel which if you go back, right, we've got 1 to 2 on duty. That means you're pulling all your on-duty firefighters and at least 1 PSO. They're all responding out of the community, which requires you to call people back or put people on standby in order to provide coverage. And so, again, that's a cost of doing business. The numbers of mutual aid exchanges between the communities is comparatively small. And so, if you look at the top there, mutual aid received and automatic aid received, essentially for our purposes, there's really no distinction. That's when somebody from outside, usually this is both points, coming in to Upper Woods, responding to provide assistance. Now, this could be they get halfway here and they get turned around, but this is the number of times that mutual aid is called. So we see it's roughly 10 times, 10 to 15 times a year, so a little over one a month on average. Mutual aid given, interesting in 2017, was never at 4. Otherwise, it's a high of 6, a low of 2, and so in the single digits. And so maybe every other month it's been required. And then no aid received is essentially all fire-related incidents, everything else. So all those other minor incidents for which no assistance was required. So, to understand, now when we start assessing the level of service, we want to look, and we're doing this in very expedited fashion. There's a group called the National Fire Protection Association. The National Fire Protection Association is a consensus standard-making body. It's a private, nonprofit organization that sets standards for all aspects of fire protection, from fire hydrants all the way through to staffing and operations of fire departments. The principal standard that would be used as an assessment of the level of service is the standard known as NFPA 1710. And NFPA 1710, I should say, those standards have no legal force. Okay, so just because they exist, everybody doesn't have to comply with them. However, once they exist, they then become a benchmark against which communities, some elected bodies adopt them as the level of service they desire for the communities. Others strive to meet them, and others just ignore them. And you'll see that some of these fit together. So NFPA 1710, which has a very long title, is designed for career fire departments, which is the model of this your fire protection falls under. All your personnel are career employees who are delivering that service. Essentially, from a service level perspective, the most important parameters they have in there is they require a 4-minute response time. That's pursuit drive time within 4 minutes, 90 to 90% of incidents. Okay, you're meeting that for your first unit, which is great. However, they want the initial alarm assignment to be on scene within 8 minutes, 90% of the time for structure fires. Now, those structure fires would go back to that mutual aid slide. I was talking, 40, actually the incident slide, about 40 times a year when you're getting a call for a house fire. And so, for those incidents, the expectation in the standard is that you would assemble 15 personnel on scene within 8 minutes, 90 to 90% of those incidents. Okay? Now, there's a lot of practical complications in terms of measuring compliance with that and everything else. But suffice it to say, getting 15 people any place in the Upper Woods that you have a fire is a challenge, right? And it's going to be difficult to do it consistently in those timeframes, but it would absolutely require mutual aid, considerable mutual aid. You consider that you're fielding maybe 3 to 4 personnel, and then you're going to get up to 15, like 3 or 4 additional units coming in at that level. And so the city does not need 1710 with regard to your staffing or response times, because the standard is kind of, you're either in or you're out. You do need that on the first 2, which is good. That is not unique to Harper Woods. There are many smaller communities in many many larger communities across the country that do not meet that standard. And so we're trying to get in contact. Another area of interest in terms of regulations and standards is the Insurance Services Office, which we mentioned, which is referred to as ISO. This goes back to the early 1900s, but essentially they rate communities on their fire protection capabilities, and they assign a score, which they call public protection classification. It goes from 1 to 10. 1 is best, 10 is basically you got nothing, not even a fire hydrant. And so the city is currently rated class 5. And that rating is based not only on the fire department, but primarily on their staffing, the equipment, response times, but a great deal of that is also based on the water system and dispatch. And so it's a holistic look, but that ISO rating is only designed to measure the firefighting capabilities of the department. It does not reflect rescue, it does not reflect EMS, it does not reflect any of the other services. It's significant because for insurance rate setting, in certain cases, particularly for commercial properties, the ISO public protection classification is used. And so, although it gets complicated, you can chase these things down, but some insurers, at least one major insurer doesn't use them. For homeowners insurance, if you have a homeowner's policy, homeowners is a multi-peril policy, and it covers not just fire, but crime, wind, water damage, etc. And so that one piece, the fire, is a comparatively small piece of the overall homeowner's premium, but nonetheless, it can have some impact on insurance premiums. 5 is not an unreasonable rating for a city trying to cover the woods, and we reviewed their rating and input. We were doing well, given what we had to work with. You were just rated last year. You're 3 points away from qualifying to get to a class 4. We'll let that work. So, to start to conclude here, the current system has some issues with regard to what we concern in terms of its sustainability. First is the city's fiscal position, which drove them into the public safety officer model, which, as we indicated, is Michigan is kind of like the international capital of the PSO model. And of course, those points are long-standing PSO departments as well. However, there are challenges in maintaining cross-trained police officers who will serve as PSOs. And the Public Safety Department, the chief has reported that law enforcement recruitment is becoming more and more difficult, and that's not unique to Harbor Woods, that's a national trend. But if you are competing with organizations that do not require firefighter certification, and I can make this much money here as a police officer, and make this much money in Harbor Woods, and I've got to go off and do these extra duties, then that may push people away, and that's what's been reported. So it's increasingly challenging to maintain that PSO cadre, which is critical for your fire staffing. At the same time, the number of firefighters that are employed by the city is at that contractual minimum of 6. Right, which does not leave you a lot of flexibility. Right now you have, as I indicated, anytime you have a system where you're dependent on joining backfill capability, and it's not unusual to not have that capacity in a system where you're staffing at this level to put them on their shift. Anytime there's an absence, it can help drive overtime. And with this only 6 people in the pool to staff that, the demands on working overtime can become onerous very quickly for people who are trying to fill those shifts. So, the department, Public Safety Department, is continuing to operate, I think, fairly effectively given the resources they have. and the personnel who are the PSOs seem committed to that role. However, and this is a limit on any public safety operation, is if you have a comparatively high police workload, pulling out personnel, the public safety officers, to provide that fire staffing is going to get increasingly challenging. Right? And so you are at that point, and that's a tension that you have in the system. Now, to some degree, it was there on day one, but certainly now, I think it's a real issue that needs to be contended with, and the city is at a bit of a crossroads in terms of figuring out where they want to go in the future. As we said before, the city really can't comply with 1710 without reliance on mutual automatic aid. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but getting the NFPA staffing levels would put a significant demand on the mutual aid partners. And I would venture that they're in a similar predicament. Right? People over across the border, I think we could say slide would change the name of the municipality. One of the realities of the staffing when you've got two firefighters on duty, I'm not going to say that's great, but it's much better than one. And the realities are when you have that one person, that one firefighter on duty, or a fire officer, that fire officer in many communities, they would have one job, that is to manage the incident. Right? Because of the way we staff, they have multiple jobs. Right? They're operating the apparatus, they are trying to manage the incident, and they are the only one on scene who is certified as an incident commander. Right? So the public safety officers aren't able to do that. And so you're really splitting their attention between a number of tasks. And I don't think anybody would say that is an ideal circumstance to be in. Another regulatory requirement, this is a hard one, this is real, this is federal law under Occupational Safety and Health Administration. There's a standard known as 2 in, 2 out. That means the way OSHA defines that is any time you have an atmosphere or environment that they define as immediately dangerous to life and health, which is basically any time you're going to have to put on a breathing apparatus, go into a smoke-filled building or a building where the atmosphere can be compromised. That's an environment in which this 2 in, 2 out policy would come into effect. And that requires that you have 4 personnel on the scene before you can initiate interior attack. Now there's an exception there for life risk. There's a known life risk. You can go in with what you've got, but if there is not, actually you need 4 personnel on scene. And so that number 4 that we talked about earlier in the report is really an important benchmark. And that's an important benchmark from a regulatory standpoint that's also factored into NFPA 1710. There are a number of reported structure fire incidents. Again, we go back now to those staffing charts with the on-scene manpower for incidents that I would say could very credibly be interpreted as immediately dangerous to life and health. You didn't have 4 people on scene. Now, the reality is those things tend to de-escalate very quickly. But again, we are in the business, the fire business, of not preparing for the best day, but preparing for the worst day. And so that is an area of concern. Again, the PSOs are not trained to operate the fire apparatus, and so nor do they have that fire officer training. So when they are there, they have a limited role they can fulfill, basically acting as a firefighter under the direction of the officer in charge, who is hopefully 1 or 2 firefighters on duty, who also maybe happen to operate the apparatus. And so ideally, whenever you have a fire, an interior firefighting situation, or I should say in any incident, you want to have a well-defined command structure. And so the ability to do that is difficult in the current model. So if the city chooses to maintain a separate distinct firefighting function, there's a need to add shift staffing, which will, it is not, if you think that we're going to have shift staffing, our overtime budget is going to go down, it won't. Because essentially you're putting more people on duty, but you're maintaining more on duty. And so the overtime situation that we're in right now will essentially continue. Adding more PSOs does not seem to be feasible based on the input we got from public safety, and so that leaves you with dedicated firefighter position. And the benchmark we want to drive for is moving to get four personnel on duty. And this would give you the ability to perform that initial attack in accordance with those standards and not be dependent on the PSOs. And the reach that would require an additional 6 firefighter positions, which is basically doubling the number of firefighters we have now. Now this is at a polar extreme. You have a PSO model now, and there are points in between this. But this is representing where things would look if you wanted to pursue a traditional fire staffing model. Obviously, doubling the number of positions will either double your salary and fringe. It's difficult to establish a set command post, as we said, given the current staffing level. Additional staff on duty would allow you to have a little more consistency and the capability to do that. Again, if you have this function, your on-duty staff right now are captain, lieutenant, fire officer positions. If you're going to have supervision of multiple companies that are in incident, that call for a fire chief or a chief officer of some sort, because you don't have any, that would require a fire chief or someone who would fulfill that managerial responsibility and command within the city. Obviously, this would be a very costly thing. Even if you did this, hired up for these additional positions, the city would still be dependent on mutual aid for fighting structure fires. It is the reality of the staff. So, as we talked about before, overtime is an issue in the department. The budget cost for the fire department, $622,000 in 2020, over $120,000 on overtime. 2021 budget is $633,000 overtime, over $550,000 on overtime. We paid over $1.2 million in overtime over the past 5 years. And again, that's driven by the fact that you don't have enough staff to make it work to have backfill staffing. So actual costs about a little over $750,000 for the fire service budget in functioning within the public safety budget in the city. The need for additional 6 positions to get you up to closer to 4 on duty at all times. Those numbers for the hiring, if you recall, along this line, 4% minimum. Again, over time they go down somewhat, but it's not going to disappear. So you have the firefighter salary, benefits, the one-time cost, although there's a 10-year replacement on that for protective equipment, puts you at $1,087,000 year 1, and then creating a fire chief position. And this $125,000 is a number that is just drawn from the neighboring community. It's not to say that's the right number. But with the state benefits, that will be about $223,000 for a full-time chief. So the all-in cost of our current budget, if we add those additional positions and add a chief, puts you up over $2 million annually for fire service. It would be a percentage increase of 166%. So So that's the conclusion of the formal presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Charles.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have a few questions for you. One, you mentioned that our rating, it was a rating between 1 to 10 class, and our classified rating as of 2021 was, our rating in 2021 was a classified rating. And I know you listed some, I guess, some recommendations. I was wondering, was there because 5 is right in the middle, or there was some recommendation that would seriously help to bring our rating up above that 5?
Well, we did in the report, presented the components of that rating we go into making that. And so, essentially, we didn't have specific recommendations on that, but you would take those areas that were lowest, and then you would look at those and determine which area would be most feasible to make improvements. As I said, you were less than 4 points away from moving up to the next rating. Typically, the ratings are done, I don't know, it's probably 5 or 6 years now in ratings, but they will come back. The ISO will also give you advice on improving your rating if you opt to do that. An in-depth analysis of the ISO rating wasn't technically part of our study, but we have to look at it and get back to that.
And my second question is, when I was going through the information that was sent on to us before this meeting, and your PowerPoint, I see some slides that we don't have in PowerPoint. Some very important slides, such as the operational conclusions and stuff. That's in your PowerPoint. That's not here. Will we be able to get access to the PowerPoint slides?
Madam Mayor? My questions were actually more related to the insurance end of it. You had mentioned that some insurance, and I don't know if you mean just house insurance or other ones, will give credits to properties within 1.5 miles of fire stations. But you said one insurance carrier didn't, so I'm wondering if that's related to a state law or...
No. Well, the insurance is regulated at state level, as you are aware. Many communities kind of, I won't say senselessly, I will say very doggedly chase improving their ISO rating. And a particular increase from one store to the next may not necessarily correlate to a reduction in premium for any particular homeowner. Commercial risks, commercial properties have a slightly different regime in which they are rated. But the underwriting decisions made by each particular insurer takes that ISO rating and applies it. And so it's very difficult to say that if you go from a 5 to a 4, that everybody's going to save 5% on their insurance. So it gets messy quickly. Generally, if my advice that if you're close to being able to improve and it's feasible, it's always worth it to go up because there will be some benefit somewhere within the community, somewhere that insurance will benefit from it. And for the most part, a lot of the things that ISO wants you to do, while I certainly don't endorse all of them, many times they are generally positive, sound things.
So that would be a mix then of your ISO rating and your being 1.5 miles or so within a fire station.
No, that's part of the ISO.
That's part of the ISO.
So it's a function of the ISO rating, which captures all of it. The dispatch systems, the hydrant and the water supply system, the fire department, the equipment, staffing, the response time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I noticed when you gave us a kind of breakdown of the cost that it would take us to get to a minimum staffing of 4 at any time.
You indicated a total cost of $2,100,000, right in that amount. That does not include overtime costs, I assume, or does it?
Well, the overtime,
Because you indicated that overtime would still be a factor.
well, yes, right, that does not include your, that's your 2021 actual, so that includes overtime. So if you make the assumption that overtime will continue with the current rate, which I think is likely to decrease, but not a lot, so I think you're still in that ballpark.
Okay, so $2,100,000, which obviously is something that we're not going to be able to handle. You have looked at a number of other cities, a number of other, methods or models of firefighting. What kind of models have you looked at for communities roughly our size that you might, I know you're not going to recommend anything to us. We have to do our duty in looking at different models. But what are some of the things that you're seeing that meet some needs in communities?
Well, I think you're in a unique position here with the public safety organization. The public safety model is used more extensively in Michigan, I think, than anything else in the country. And the primary, public safety officer model can be effective, right? And it can be sustainable and it can work. I was involved in a study of Kalamazoo many years ago. But that is predicated on basically a manageable demand for both fire and police. And so there's been a lot of issues in policing and in public safety generally in terms of improvement, right, in the last couple of years, like post-George Floyd. Law enforcement is having a harder time recruiting. That's just the reality. Okay, so you've got that need to work in the labor market and attract police officers, and the firefighting is considered kind of a supplemental add-on. You're taking a certified police officer and then sending them off to the fire training. So it's a challenge. So you've done the dedicated fire model, the dedicated staff, and you went to public safety because of financial implications. And so you don't have a lot of wiggle room. There's, opportunities for, regional cooperation with your neighbors, looking at integrating your automatic gate and things like that. But you're in a tough spot. As I said before, with 1710, I don't know of any communities on their own, this size that can provide it. It's a very, very demanding standard. It's really designed around kind of metropolitan or larger city or county fire departments, or places that are very
May I follow it? I know that one of the models that I know we're hearing more about today, because there's an active fire that's going on at the mall, at Somerset Mall right now, is Troy. They have a volunteer fire department to handle their rather large city by comparison to us. Have you had the opportunity to do any kind of exploration of that model? I don't want to say we would turn to that, but I'm just curious. I've got to explore everything.
Could it work? Absolutely. Is it easy? No. Is it likely to succeed? Speaking candidly, no. Does it require a great deal of management attention and time? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So it's a tough road. Volunteer fire service in this country is in crisis in most communities. And, could you integrate, some element of that, with good management, with the right people, all that, could it work? Yes. Does it work? It's not a magic wand. Mm-hmm. And volunteers aren't free. There's a big, cost to get it stepped up and running. You have the same issues in terms of consistency of response. And you do have a fairly, benign demand for service there in terms of calls, right? A couple hundred. So in one sense, that's good. But but, you know, it's not a sure thing. It's absolutely not.
Okay, one last question. And this has to do with something you talked about regarding regional or, I don't know the correct term for it, but groups of communities that'll join together to form a fire district. I think that's what it's called. Have you examined that model? Like where, you know? Yeah,
I've got other studies in that area, and sometimes they come to fruition, sometimes they don't. Local control is very important. One issue you have here is the public safety officer model.
Yeah.
And in a sense, you could argue that you have a soft regionalization with those points right now, in terms of you kind of pool your resources to provide service, and, you know, by all accounts, you know, that's worked and continues to work. Maybe at, you know, at a level that, you know, some would call it temporary, but the job gets done, and that seems to be, you know, working right now. I do not look at those other communities to see the health of those systems. I don't know if they're having similar issues with recruiting, maintaining firefighter trained TSOs either. But, you know, you can always look at basically the thing that I would determine if you want certainty around response, and so that when you got a structure fire, reported structure fire, you're reaching out and you say, I know, I've got, you know, some number of people coming, in terms of, you know, you've got those resources coming, and they're able to work together. And you have that now with the automatic gate, but again, due to the number of times that they're coming in and all that, it's difficult to assess that completely, particularly given the fact that it's 40 times a year that they're coming in next year.
I appreciate your insight. Thank you.
I have any further questions?
Yeah, I have some questions. I have a couple of questions. A couple of questions more. So the regional districts, that's interested me for a long time. I'm thinking in terms of that, and also I know we used to hear go on a run, and then we would charge the patient or whomever, and then the insurance would pay that. I know we had a lot of difficulty collecting, but I'm wondering, one, if you've seen how that goes in other cities with similar setups like that, and if you've ever seen anything like that in a regional setup, if there's any success. I don't know what it is right now. But yeah.
So there is insurance recovery for some of those services, but you can't, you know, you're not on the, I mean, the subscription model or a service charge for service model is fire isn't really feasible, because you can't.
So it's not financially feasible then?
Okay. I need a motion to accept the report.
Madam Mayor, I'll offer a motion to accept the report and file it.
Support by Constantine. We've had the discussion, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. I need approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting, library board meeting, planning commission meeting, and the beautification commission meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve, receive, and file the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on May 16th, 2022, and to receive and file the minutes of the library board meeting held on April 22nd, 2022, the planning commission meeting held on May 25th, 2022, and the beautification commission meeting held on June 7th, 2022.
Support. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on agenda items? Please come to the podium and identify yourself. You'll have a time to talk at call to audience. Since seeing none, let's move on to the consent agenda. I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor, I make a resolution to approve consent agenda items 1 through 7.
Support. Support by Councilwoman Constantino. Discussion. Okay, no discussion. Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Constantino?
Yes.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pye?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki?
Yes.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kendall?
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, there's no old business, so this takes us to new business, city manager report.
Item G1, progress payment number 5, final 2021 storm sewer repair number 180-256. Mayor and Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 5, final, on the 2021 storm sewer repair project number 180-256. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman
I'll
Siddiqui.
offer the resolution to approve payment to, I hope I have the right one up here, yes. To Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC in the amount of $217.70 for progress payment number 5, the final, on the 2021 storm sewer repair project number 180-256.
Support. Support. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pye?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki?
Yes.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kendall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Item G2, progress payment number 2, final 2021 pavement joint crack sealing project number 180-258. Mayor and Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 2, final, on the 2021 pavement joint crack sealing project number 180-258. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Pye.
I'll offer by resolution to approve payment to Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC in the amount of $1,943.36 for progress payment number 2, final, on the 2021 pavement joint/crack sealing project number 180-258.
Support. Support by Councilwoman Constantino, was it you?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Pye?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki?
Yes.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kendall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino?
Yes.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Item G3, progress payment number 1, Johnson Park Basketball Facility Improvements, number 180-263. Mayor and Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the Johnson Park Basketball Facility Improvements, number 180-263. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Constantino.
I'll offer the resolution to approve payment to Warren Contractors and Development in the amount of $55,624.68 for progress payment number 1 on the Johnston Park Basketball Facility Improvement, number 180-263.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Sawicki.
The other one.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
I know that the surface has been prepped, along with the walkway in the park. I'm assuming that cement or whatever surface will be laid down once the project on Beaconsfield gets started. Is that what the delay in pouring the cement or pouring the...
Well, actually, what's happened is due to the price of fuel, and the state of Michigan was a little bit behind on their end a little bit. The actual work on Beaconsfield is going to start July 1st, and this progress payment right here, it's actually taking into consideration not only Johnson Park, but Salter Park too, and answering your question, yes, there is going to be a nice walking path in Salter Park.
But when is it going to be done? And when is the bulb,
This summer,
sometime this summer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and so we're just waiting for all of the delivery to
We're waiting for all the pieces. Yeah, they have to secure the material, they have to secure, they're negotiating surcharges, fuel charges, getting the crews together, but all of the indications indicate that it's going to start happening July 1st going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that we have some very anxious people wanting to get out there.
Yes.
I've seen them dribbling along the pathway. So, yeah, it'll be nice when we're finally able to accomplish that. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Item G4, progress payment number 3, water service material investigation number 180-265. Mayor and Council attaches a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 3 on the water service material investigation program number 180-265. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Tucson?
I'd like to make a recommended action by resolution to approve payment to ML Cartier Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $98,483.75 for progress payment number 3 on the water service material investigation program number 180-265.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Constantino. Discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
could you ask our acting city manager to explain this material investigation program to us again?
Okay, it's essentially televising all of the lines throughout the city and coding them for repair according to their age, I want to say physical deterioration, and it helps determining which lines in the city may need complete replacement, which may need a liner inside or any other form of fixing it.
Thank you. I was going to guess that, but I thought I'd better make it accurate. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Is this related to the lead line testing at all?
No, this is just maintenance of the infrastructure beneath the streets, yes,
Nothing else.
different
Okay.
category.
Thank you.
Okay. Then, in that case, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
a follow-up question. So is this related to like that 10% of lines that we have to replace every year or something like that?
No, this is a different project, yeah.
Is there any further discussions? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, purchase of body cameras, police department. Mayor and council, attached is a memorandum from the Director of Public Safety requesting approval to purchase body cameras. As he states, the few remaining units that we have are at the end of their lifespan and past the warranty date and need to be replaced. Also included in the purchase is more than 7 terabytes of cloud storage and access to a website that will contain all of the body camera footage for immediate viewing and will also replace the need to burn and/or print the footage onto blank discs. I have reviewed this with him, and I concur with his recommendation that this purchase be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, Councilwoman Sawicki,
I'd offer the resolution to approve the purchase of 24 Axon Body 3 cameras, cloud storage, and access to evidence.com from Axon Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $128,687.42, with an initial payment of $12,593.74 and 4 annual payments of $28,335.92.
Support.
support by Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Mayor, real quick question. What is the lifespan of these cameras? Do you know?
Chief, would you care to speak to that question?
So the Axon package, they will renew our cameras every 2 years. They'll just send us a replacement for the life of the contract. This is a 5-year contract. So every 2 years, they will automatically send us 24 new cameras. We'll send them the old ones, and yep. But I think our current, off the top of my head, our current models are about 6 years old, and we're only down to 7 for the entire department, which obviously that's a piece of equipment that we want to maintain. I'm sure the public wants us to maintain as well.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
Okay, I know you were requesting 24 body cameras. Do you have 24 officers?
Yeah, currently we have 21. We anticipate getting some more officers. These cameras, each officer will get their own camera. It's assigned to them. When they take it off at the end of the shift, they put it on a dock. All of their information goes into the cloud, and it's attached to them. This is much easier than our current model where we're switching cameras between every shift. Every person gets a different camera, so the data gets a little messed up, so to speak, without having any technical knowledge.
So the other three are just extras?
Yeah, we'll maintain one for probably the Detective Bureau. If Detective Bureau has to go out and do an interview and they want a body cam, we'll have one for them as well. And then we'll maintain 2 or 3 additional, anticipating new personnel coming in at some point.
Are there any further, Councilman Toussaint?
Yes, these cameras, now how do they administer as far as when they turn them on and when they turn them off?
Manually.
I know, it's that when they leave to go out on the run and it stays on the whole time?
No, manually. The officer has to manually press a button to turn it on.
And any criteria given to them, yeah, you should do it when you do this, or when you should
Any
do that?
citizen contact, anytime, any traffic stop, any domestic call, anytime we're having conversation with the public, that thing is on. That's our policy. So, but no, do they have to maintain it while they're driving around, eating their lunch? No.
I just want to know.
No, that's our policy is just anytime we have contact with the public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Pines.
How long is the recording archived? How long do we keep it for?
That is a good question. I want to say it's 10 years with Axon, and we have, I don't have the paperwork on, we have, how many terabytes do we have?
7.
7 terabytes, so it'll maintain quite a while. I think 10 years.
But maybe a few years, yeah.
Right.
Even longer than I expected was a few years.
Yeah, long enough to adjudicate any case that's pending
That's what I was
or any investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Excuse me?
Yes, Madam Mayor. The body cameras that we already have, is that also through Axon?
No, these are current are through Safe Fleet L3 is that model.
And what's the life expectancy like of these body
Like I said, I think we've gotten 6 or 7 years out of these, but they are past their life, the warranty life. If you call L3 to service them, say you might as well throw it in the trash because it's obsolete at this point.
So the new ones that are considering purchasing, how long are those supposed to last?
They'll exchange every 2 years. We'll get new cameras every 2 years, and that's no additional cost. That is built into the cost of the contract. They'll just automatically ship every 2 years, 24 new cameras. We'll just do an exchange.
Madam Mayor, one very quick question. I'm hoping that with this going through tonight, you'll take delivery on the new cameras relatively quickly.
I think the lead time right now is probably 4 to 6 weeks.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome.
If no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kendall.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Item G6, consent judgment, Eastland Center Mall Realty Holding LLC. Mayor and Council, attached is a joint stipulation consent judgment between the City of Harper Woods and Eastland Center Mall Realty Holding LLC for your review and approval. As part of the settlement with the Michigan Tax Tribunal, the petitioner has agreed to reimburse the city in the amount of $95,000 for the cost of police and fire service with respect to the 2019 and 2020 tax years. WCA Assessing was instrumental in negotiating this amount on our behalf, and they did a great job. And I personally like to thank Mr. Aaron Powers. And it is my recommendation that this agreement be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I'll offer by resolution to approve the stipulation for entry of consent judgment between the City of Harper Woods and Eastland Center Mall Realty Holding LLC, and further to authorize the acting city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
support.
Support by Councilwoman Williams. Discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't understand how the city can be reimbursed for police and fire services specifically.
Well, we provided police and fire services for the mall back in 2019 and 2020. And while all of this was going through the tax tribunal to lower their assessment value, they already received the services. So, Mr. Powers here, we had a long talk about this, and we weren't sure that we could negotiate this on behalf of the city, but we were successful at doing it.
Yeah.
So they agreed to give us $95,000 to reimburse us for the cost of police and fire services.
Okay, that's why I was wondering how we were able to do that. I had thought something like that would at the least just go to the general fund.
It initially came out of the general fund and, to pay the salaries of the police and fire, and during the whole tribunal process, this was a cost where they realized that they already got the service, so they're reimbursing us.
This gets dropped back into the line item budget?
Yeah, this will get dropped back into the general fund, yes, as operating revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any further discussions?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
I just had a question about the, I guess it's the signature line. I see it's dated December 8th, 2020. And Eastland signed it December 8th, 2020. And our line is also dated December 2020. Well, this is 2022.
Yeah, all we have to do is, these things take a long time in their hearings. All we have to do is sign it, and we'll get a check.
Are there any further discussions? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Mayor Kendall.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, renewal of contract, WCA Assessing. Mayor and Council, as most of you are aware, our contract with WCA Assessing is due to expire at the end of June. 2022. WCA performs a wide variety of assessing related services for the city. Some, but not all service includes inspecting, revising, and reevaluating property records with new construction, demolition, and property splits. They perform neighborhood market studies, land value analysis, and support the city with tax appeals. They also attend staff and city council meetings when requested. Their new contract proposal is virtually the same as the one we have in place today. The only exception is a 5% overall increase for services. The new contract is for a 3-year period. It is my recommendation that this contract be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
I'll offer resolution. By resolution, approve the 3-year contract renewal with WCA Assessing, effective July 1st, 2022, in the amount of $69,488 annually for the first year, $72,962 annually for year 2, and $76,610 annually for the last year, payable in 12 equal installments for each year, and further to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the agreement on behalf of the city of Harperwood.
Support by Councilman Toussaint. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Yep. Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G8, Milk River, operation and maintenance. Mayor and council, attached is an invoice from Wayne County for operation and maintenance of the Milk River drain for June through August 2022. This is in accordance with the budget amount set by the drainage district. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make the resolution to approve payment to Wayne County in the amount of $250,668.75 for the operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for June through August of 2022.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Pies. Discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I know this is always a tough pill to swallow, but it did save us in the storms from last year tremendously. I know some houses did get hit, but nothing like it could have happened if we didn't have the Milk River Drain. So, that's all I have to say.
Any further discussion?
It's a good thing to be reminded of.
Yeah, thank you, 'cause you got it coming up.
When you flood here. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G9, receive and file Great Lakes Water Authority rate adjustment. Mayor and council, at a recent city council meeting, it was suggested by some residents that the city join other communities in the Highland Park lawsuit concerning Great Lakes Water Authority rates. We chose to stay on the sidelines because it was rumored the city may be receiving a favorable rate adjustment on future water rates despite the lawsuit, but nothing was official until now. Provided is a timeline of events for your interest. May 10th, 2022, Wayne County Circuit Court clarifies 1996 Highland Park agreements and orders Highland Park to resume water payments. May 11, 2022, Governor Whitmer pledged support to help Highland Park. May 31st, 2022, Great Lakes Water Authority is notified that Highland Park is sending a payment. June 2nd, 2022, Great Lakes Water Authority Board rolls back Highland Park debt recovery amounts for fiscal year 2023. June 3rd, 2022, Great Lakes Water Authority received payment from Highland Park. June 8th, 2022, Harper Woods is notified of rate reductions as attached for your review. It is recommended that we receive and file this information Mayor, resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
I'll offer the resolution to receive and file the rate reduction as received by Great Lakes Water Authority.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Pies. Okay, any discussion?
I have a question. Madam Mayor, am I looking at that we received $18,200? Is that what, am I reading this from?
No, those are the charges. The original charges originally approved were $18,500. The new ones are $18,200. And I want to say, let's see here, on the second schedule here, for the water service fixed charge, it was $43,700. It's now $43,600. And today, we just received a rate reduction on our sewage side, too. So I'll be presenting that at the next council meeting.
The amounts?
Yes, what they said.
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Sawicki had her hand up first.
My quick question was just, if you could give us, I guess, am I to assume that it's $100 a month in service charge, or what's the total amount that we're getting reduced by?
It's right here. You'll see it outlined in blue.
Not on my sheet.
Oh, you don't have it? Okay.
Black and white.
Okay, just take a look at line 3 where it says Highland Park bad debt adjustment. We're not being charged for that.
So it's $4,300. Is that
Yes.
monthly or?
Those are yearly rates right there.
Okay, so it's not a huge reduction.
No, it's not a huge reduction, but we're a small user on a big system.
But at least we're getting something.
Yes, and we're getting it on fixed charges, commodity charges, and on the sewage side too.
All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
How does this directly affect our residents?
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear that.
How does this directly affect the residents?
For any study that we have examining our rates, obviously it's going to be a lower cost if we do have a rate adjustment.
So that would be in the future then?
In the future, yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a addition to tonight's council agenda. We just received a communication from Michigan Department of Transportation today, and it has to be acted on within 30 days. So, Mayor and Council, attached is a contract from the Michigan Department of Transportation that I request be added to tonight's agenda. It arrived by email just this morning. This contract is for the second phase of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project, Woodland to Vernier. It is also requested that the acting city manager and city clerk be authorized to sign this contract with MDOT, and the recommended action is number 1, a motion to add to the agenda the contract from the Michigan Department of Transportation for the Beaconsfield resurfacing project, Woodland to Vernier, and 2, by resolution, to approve the contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation, Control Section STU 82,000, project number 22A0617, job number 208976, CON, contract number 22-5276 for the Beaconsfield resurfacing project, and further to authorize the acting city manager and city clerk to sign.
Madam
First
Mayor?
of all, I need a motion.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I'll offer by motion to add to the agenda the contract from the Michigan Department of Transportation for the Beaconsfield resurfacing project, Woodland to Vernier.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Sawicki.
Madam Mayor?
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
Yes. Since we're receiving this contract now, am I to assume that's because the cost of fuel and materials are going up, so that they're changing, maybe the cost?
All this really is to allow federal participation with MDOT. MDOT requires certain standards for the contractors that use federal money that do road paving projects, and I want to say that everything has been backed up a little bit with the state of Michigan. People are working from home. Things are they're a little bit more delayed than they normally would. We probably would have got this maybe a month and a half earlier under normal conditions, but it just arrived this morning, so that's why it's on the agenda, and it's primarily to qualify for the federal participation.
Any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
We obviously have not had an opportunity to read over this because it was just presented to us. So I have to rely upon our acting city manager and city attorney to let us know that this contract is, something that we can rely upon. And I just guess we'll want to get the assurance of our city attorney to say that the contract is in order.
I have not been provided a copy. This was just received today.
All right, so can we, when we move ahead to the resolution, can we approve it on condition that the city attorney approves this contract?
Well,
Yes.
we have to, I just want to reiterate a few things. This is from the state of Michigan.
Right.
And I want to say this is a standard boilerplate language, and it's so that we can get federal participation. Federal participation is 80% of the cost of Beaconsfield Road. That's for the hot mix, asphalt, cold milling, resurfacing, concrete pavement repair, driveway, curb ramps, storm sewer, permanent signing, all the things that are needed on the road. And if we don't have a signed agreement, then that responsibility could be with the city.
Right, and I don't want to delay this project at all, but I also want to make certain that we cover all of our bases.
Yeah,
And
we'll
make
give a
sure
copy to Sharon.
All right.
And not only that, this is similar to the same contract that we just signed.
Yes, these are all the similar contracts.
Similar contracts to what we just did for the first part of Beaconsfield.
Right, and
If I may just add just a point here too, is that this is from the state of Michigan. Quite frankly, it's 500 pound gorilla rule. If you want their services, if you want their money, if you want this, you're probably going to have to sign their contract.
okay, and so I might as well assume that it's
I'm
in
going
order.
to have to say yes.
All right.
They lead.
One more question I have.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get an estimate of how much it is, how much.
Page 8.
Page 8 that I'm looking at, is that the 264, $1,419,000?
They're paying 80% for the entire project.
So they're doing
Yes,
part of it.
they have the lion's share. They want to make sure that contractors that are working do the proper material testing, asphalt is up to grade, et cetera, et cetera.
So they're paying like $1,154,000?
They're paying quite a bit of money, yes.
Are we, same follow through on that same number? We see a number of $264,297. Is that what you have budgeted for this?
We have all the money, we budgeted that last year.
Great.
Okay?
And this is in order with that?
Yeah, everything is in
So
order.
there shouldn't be any additional charges? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And any further discussion?
Yes, so John?
Yes.
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Williams, you had a question?
Yes. Since this is from the state and they're paying 80% of this, so this really is like part of Governor Whitmer's fixing the road program?
Yes, it's all part, yeah. Federal money comes to the state, and the state is giving it out to the local governments, and local governments, it's typical for local governments to pay 20%.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Just for clarification for our community members here tonight, the grand total cost is $1,419,000. $419,200. The federal government will pay $1,154,903, and Harper Woods will pay $264,297. So that's a bargain.
Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Your motion?
That motion.
It's a motion just to put it on, that was all the discussion you guys had. It was just a motion to put this on the agenda. So we haven't even voted for the actual contract yet.
That's okay, now
So-
it's on the agenda.
All in favor of the motion to add this this contract to the agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I'll offer the resolution to approve the contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation Control Section STU 82,000, project number 22A0617, job number 208976CON, contract number 22-5276 for the Beaconsfield resurfacing project, and further to authorize the acting city manager and city clerk to sign the contract.
support. Okay, now, do we have any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Mrs. Frank?
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pye.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passed.
All right.
Mayor, that concludes the city manager's reports.
All righty then. So now we call the audience, 3 minutes or less, and state your name and where you live. Come to the front. Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Denise Mueller. I grew up in this community. And then I moved back in 91. And I'm ashamed to live here right now. I'm ashamed to live here as I walk through the streets and the grass is growing and front doors are busted out and sidewalks. I tripped on one, hurt myself pretty bad. So we need to focus, and I'll be on that team. We need to focus on getting this city back in order. Be proud of our city. Cut the grass. These guys that have renters, if the renters don't cut the grass, I think the owners of the home should have to cut the grass. It's disgusting. I walked by one in Kenosha just not too long ago. I'm a dog walker beside of a cyclist. This house over on Kenosha and Sanilac, the door's busted out, the driveway's all got a big old hole in it, like a crater hit it. What's up? What's up with this? Why are we letting our city become such poor condition? Anybody agree with me?
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous. The glass that's around, if I find a glass bottle, if I have a trash can close enough, I'll throw it away. If not, I'll put it in your bushes. Because you know what? If I don't, the kids are going to bust it right out, straight out, all the time. And I give the police kudos for being on call for us and doing what they do. And they know me at DPW, because I'll say, I know your eye can't be everywhere, but this is what I seen today while I was walking or while I was riding, and they're on top of it. Everybody's short-staffed. We're all working the best we can, but let's clean up our city. Let's figure it out. Please?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to everyone.
We appreciate you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? State your name and the street.
Mark Van Pooker on Roscommon, and we talked about the bike lane on Beaconsfield, and you said you'd look into it with Anderson and with the company. Maybe come up with anything yet? I mean, where are we at with this?
The road construction hasn't even started.
Yeah, I heard you were gonna start July 1st, I heard that,
Yes.
10 minutes ago.
Yes, I can be very honest, we're not gonna have a bike lane there.
Okay,
There's not enough room. The
Okay.
street's not being expanded, we're still gonna keep the middle lane, turning lane. To have a bike lane, under those conditions would be very dangerous. And to put a bike lane and have the city put a bike lane there would give the appearance that we would sanction that, and we know it's dangerous.
well, I guess if it's dangerous, I guess we get a problem. Why is it dangerous?
It's because cars drive on it.
What are we gonna do about that? I mean,
I mean, if you wanna use a bike, you can use a bike.
sure. I mean, if it's dangerous, don't you wanna make it safer for myself and others? Maybe make it more room for a
can't.
bicycle?
There's not enough room there.
If you take the center lane out, where's the last place you've seen a 25-mile-an-hour street with a center lane and a turn lane? I think I've seen it once, and they actually had a bike lane too. So I don't see what the problem is. Did the city council discuss it? As far as approving it or not approving it, have they voted on it? The 5 elected officials, or excuse me, the 7 elected officials, have they voted on it?
No, it's not gonna happen.
Okay, that's sad. That's sad. It's, the motto is
Again, you could ride a bike today, you could ride it on the sidewalk, you could ride it on the street, but to have a dedicated lane, it's dangerous because the street is not getting widened. It's staying exactly the same size.
Yeah, well, okay, I think it's dangerous because, for other reasons, the city council or the police ain't doing well enough to do it, or both, in my opinion, sorry, police officers, but, I think, I don't see hardly any police activity, out there pulling people over. I don't see that anymore. I rarely see a police officer out there or a police car, rarely. Very few and far in between. So it's sad if you can't, every other community's putting on liver noise, like in, Birmingham area, they have the street just as narrow, and, they're putting bike lanes on. It's sad, and we can't do it here. It's sad, really sad. All right, a couple other things is in the magazine here that we all get, page 17, the forecast of summer events in Harper Woods. The 3 of them, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, and National Night Out. It says something about, what about the time and location of these events? It's not in the book, and I went on the website. I couldn't find it. It's not even on the website. It's sad. On page 18, behind it, he does have Memorial Day services at 10:15. I missed it. I thought it would be like 11:30, noon, and, we all rode by, and everyone's taken off. It's not even on the website. Couldn't find it. If it is, let me know. And since I'm up here, it's Department of Public Safety, Police on the top of page 4, and distracted driving. Why isn't there any ordinances, for that? Talking on the phone while driving. Why hasn't City of Troy's done it? Why not this one? Or have we? Maybe something. State law? So that's every single community, you could pull over somebody if they're on the phone, you can pull them over for that and write them a ticket? You can. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. I don't think it's within the thing you communicate. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes.
No, I am. I need to tell you who I am. First thing, if he was here, I'd give him a great big hug. Finally, on Bournemouth by Leslie, the road is fixed. Second thing is about these water bills. I know you hear it all the time, but I got a little suggestion maybe. Because I remember the meeting I was here about 2.5, 3 months ago. People don't want us to come into their houses. So my suggestion is the people that already have it and are wanting this system, put them on actual bills now. The people that don't want it, leave it on this estimated stuff. Because these bills are nuts. once you get an estimated actual, then you get an actual estimated, then I get an estimated. This is nuts. Now, the third thing you're not going to like. But 2.5 months to 3 months ago, I was here at the city council meeting complaining about nobody getting pulled over, speeders. The audience spoke, the city council spoke. Mayor, you had your time to speak, and this is exactly what you said. I hear your concerns. I have to get together with my public safety officer and implement a plan. Well, maybe it got swept under the desk because it's not happening.
No, it hasn't been swept. Do you want
Yes, it has, because I'm talking to the police officers. They're telling me,
I don't
coming right up to me and saying they can't make waves, they don't pull people over. I was sitting on my front porch, and a police officer was parked right in front of my house, and I was talking to him. A man went by 75 miles an hour. And I said, aren't you going to go after him? He said, no, I can't make waves. Well, what's going on? There's laws. Reckless, careless, speeding, everything. They're not doing anything. Let them do their jobs. Let them pull people over. I don't see sirens. I don't see the lights for any speeders. They start laughing at them. Our police officers drive down the streets, and when somebody goes by, I look at them and I go, what? And they just look at me, they shrug, and they just get this on their face of shame because they're not allowed to do anything. Let's start doing it. Because this is what I'm going to say. It's June 13th. The kids are going to be out of school. There's going to be a little kid, and you know what happens, going to follow that ball into the street. These idiots speeding down the street are going to hit that kid, kill that kid. Somebody's going to sue the city. And I want this on the record. I'm telling you right now, if it happens, God hoping it doesn't, I'm not paying for it. Because you people aren't doing anything. You pay for it out of your own pockets. Because you're not going to put a supplemental crap thing on our taxes. I'm tired of it. Do your job, or what I want is your resignation, or you sign a paper right now giving that man a direct order. Do your job. Police. No more hand this. Do the job like they used to do 13 to 15 years ago. Our city people are scared to come in here to commit a crime. Now it's like you're playing with them. They don't care.
Are you through?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I had another conversation with Sheriff Washington 2 days ago, and that will be in motion within the next 2 weeks. So our officers have increased traffic citation production. They were on hold. Any suggestion the officers are told that they can't do their job is patently false. But you have to, I can tell you the last week our officers also responded to 3 shootings. One being fatal on Saturday night, another one non-fatal at the Park Crest on Thursday or Friday, and there was an 8th grade graduation that was shot at Kelly and Woodside that our officers responded to, and 2 of those they took the shooter into custody immediately. So I understand that traffic is a concern. I do. I understand.
Well, my suggestion to you, put a car right on my street. You make probably $600,000 within a month.
This is out of order. Okay, sir. You can respond to. You can talk to afterwards. You're not going to hold up. No. We're not going through this again. No, you're not going to speak because I can ask you to leave up out of here. Now, you don't have the whole floor. You are not the only person here. And everything that you have to say. No, I point my finger at you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please go to the mic.
Good evening. My name is John Schemmer. I've lived here since 1952. The grass is ridiculous, like the lady said, and I said it last time. Instead of putting tags on their house, you keep the record, and the next time you ticketed them. And if they don't ticket, it doesn't go to them, it goes to the landlord. Because the lady at my corner, again, waited till she was tagged before she cut her grass again. And that's what's going on. Okay? The second thing is, we had an incident up at the high school, at the junior high. And I am really appalled with what's happened with the school system, and I was there last Tuesday at their meeting. The superintendent didn't call the police about the incident, and this is documented on Dojo from the school to the parents. And he did his own investigation instead of going to the police, which is a non-confident of the police department as far as I'm concerned. The other part is, and it was on the news, someone on city council got involved with it also, instead of letting the police do their job. I don't care for that. The police were supposed to should have handled that investigation and taken care of it. Nobody else should have been involved with it. But I'm tired of this, especially when an incident is with dealing with the kids with everything that's going on. And I got blown off. One of the ladies on the school board told me, basically, she hit it at me. I'm a Boy Scout leader. On Tuesdays, I'm busy with my grandson in a pack. And there's days when I'm not. When I went to the meeting to talk about it, and the lady goes, well, only people come in when there's something bad going on. I don't care for that. And then the third thing is, you have speeders, which is right, and the police are trying to do their job. But it is getting worse. On Roscommon the other day, I called in a Chrysler and a Ford Edge drag racing down from Beaconsfield to Kelly to the party store. Blew the stop sign at Lansdowne. I called it in. Police were somewhere else, not their fault. But it's getting worse. And we do need to do something about it because it's getting ridiculous. And then the third thing is the shooting up at the fourth thing, up at these halls up on Kelly Road. Many times I've called in about parking situation. They start parking down Woodside and all that, and they're parking on the sidewalks and all that. I turn it in. The other thing is, are we checking to see if they have a liquor license? All may not have a liquor license, but they still have to get a temporary liquor license to have liquor on the premises because it's a hall. And I know that because I was in the Dad's Club and we had to do that. Thank you very much for listening.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I am a former city councilman here. I'm a retired Detroit police officer. I'm a retired United States Marine. I think this gentleman was right in being passionate about problems that he sees in the city. And he's only expressing it to the city leaders. Whether we like what he says, whether we agree with what he says, he has the right to say it. And this is an opportunity for him to speak on that, and I think he did that right. The young lady who spoke about the trash and the bottles, she has a right to speak on those things. And as our city leaders, as part of your job, is to look for these, to solve some of these problems. The police department does have a very difficult job. And no one likes the police until they need them. They have a very difficult job to do. But I'm here to respond to one of the citizens' statement because he is not correct in some of his factual information concerning the incident that was on the news concerning the parking on Anita. First of all, I had been hearing about these rumors for some months. So I filed a request for the Freedom of Information Act at Harperwood School District to find out exactly what they did or what they did not do concerning these rumors. Now, this is factual, that the first time this incident or complaint was brought forward was on March the 17th. Not last week, not 2 weeks ago, not a month ago, March 17th. It was addressed March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, my brother's birthday. It was addressed 45 minutes afterwards by the school district. The principal at that school was contacted, and he spoke with the city council person. It's documented. He made a report. There is ongoing subsequent conversations that took place well before that recording that was played on the news. I can't speak for the superintendent of Harper Woods, but I do believe that he is responsible for every child that goes to that school. And if a harassing, hate-filled phone call is made, it is his obligation to let someone in city government know. In the month of April, he notified the president of the city council, who is the mayor. Because that's what the job of a mayor is president of city council. City council works as a collective body, not as an individual. He did not get a response. Not for a whole month, based on the documented reports that I received from the Freedom of Information Act. And if you would like them, I can make sure that you get a copy of them. What happened was unfortunate, it was embarrassing, and it was wrong. But I believe it was an incident that could have been handled right away. If a young man has something negative to say, and I'm the head of the household because I have a young man that lives with me, we're going to correct that right away. Now, when we look at these terrible mass shootings that's happening around the nation, I would be in fear if I am responsible for a large group of children. I have to notify the parents. But the superintendent can't notify them on his own. He has a group of people over him that is called his school board. And he notified them. He notified the president of the city of the school board first. Then he had a meeting and notified the school board body. And then he issued a letter to all the parents about what he had received and what most of you, if you listened to on the news, heard. He did not launch an investigation. So that information is wrong. But he does have the right to give that information to city government, and he did that in a timely manner. If you want the timeline of that Freedom of Information request, I can give it to you. But this could have been resolved very quickly had the people who was confronted had taken it serious. I wonder how many people on city council knew about this. This first started on March the 17th. One of your members, the phone call came from that house. That's a serious phone call. It should be investigated. And I just believe it was a young man who made a bad mistake. I happen to know him. He's a very good, and I like the young man, personally. But it should have been handled quick and fast. If not, then the problem festers. And that's why we're here today. It's because there was no closure to it as far as the school district was concerned. So for those who think that there was an investigation handled by the school, no, it was turned over to the police department. And we did not receive any information until, and it's just ironic, there's a Nixon report that went out today. June 13th. This initially happened on March the 17th. City Council, I'm just asking you to do better. You are responsible to the citizens. If you're going to give out information, give out all the information. Mayor, it is your job to let your colleagues know, to respond back to the school district in a timely manner. And in that sense, I agree with that gentleman. Again, you failed.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
My name's Pat Lemansky. I live over in Kenmore. Some of you know me, some of you don't. In regards to some of the ordinances that you have to take a look at these. I've had an experience recently working with Safe Built that was pleasant, but have a project, a fencing project, that is put on hold because of my neighbor. I'm looking at making a $10,000, improvement in the yard to secure my pool and my dogs, but I'm unable to do that. So, just a thought process for you on it.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Seeing none, call the audience. Call the council, starting with you, Councilwoman Constantino.
I'm going to pass today, thank you.
Huh?
I'm going to pass today, thank you.
Councilman?
Yes, the gentleman is left here, but I had a question about, we'll comment on the fact about he's very consistent about having a bicycle trail. I thought we had discussed that about maybe putting up a sign that says, watch out for the bikers, and I'm not sure exactly where we are with that, but I will like to follow up with it later on.
A sign is not a problem. The lane is a problem.
Right.
Can we assure him of maybe getting up a sign or something?
A sign, we could certainly put up signs, be courteous to bikers, but I mean to have a dedicated lane. Yeah.
I just think that would be kind of.
That's against what the engineers has told us and even sent out.
I agree with that. I just say if we give him a sign, maybe that'll help a lot.
Right.
No.
No. No. Go ahead.
I'm done.
All right. Two things. First of all, I am going to wade into this. The Nixle advisory that came out concerning the incident that both Mr. Shenburn and Mr. Smith just spoke about. If you're not a member of Nixle, it would be a really good thing for you to join up. Just go to Nixle. Is it .com or Nixle.org?
Nixle.com.
Is it .com? All right. Because they'll send out reports from our local police department that will inform you of any incidents that are taking place that the police believe the community should be aware of. And I'm not going to read the entire message, but I am going to read the pertinent parts, which is the second and third paragraph. The school district reported the voicemail that they received about illegal parking and this sort of thing. Reported the voicemail to the Harper Woods Department of Public Safety. The department immediately investigated the matter, reviewing all pertinent materials provided by the district, particularly the voicemail message. Despite claims to the contrary, the department determined that the call was made by a resident, not a council member. Further, while the message contained profane language, there were no threats or derogatory racial or ethnic comments. Wanting an independent investigation, the department contacted the Michigan State Police. The MSP investigated and ultimately determined that the voicemail did not constitute criminal activity, and they closed its investigation. All threats, racial, ethnic intimidation, or illegal harassment are taken very seriously by the city. The city is committed to investigating any reported incident to the fullest extent. And I think that's a very valuable message for the community to hear, that our department did step in and did take it a level beyond us, so that we had other eyes looking at the same information. And I think that that's really an important thing for us to be aware of. So if it took a month to get all of this straightened out and reported back to the community, then I think that the due diligence was done on this particular incident. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention had to do, it's a separate thing, not nearly as volatile, but in Salter Park, my husband and I go over there quite often to walk. There's a new walkway that's going up in the park, and we had the opportunity to walk that particular walkway. It hasn't been paved yet, but the base is laid and that sort of thing. I have a little concern with it because it seems extraordinarily wide. I'm guessing that it's probably at least 8 feet. My husband is 6 feet tall, and it's wide enough for him to lay across with extra space. And to me, that makes it almost an attractive nuisance. If that entire amount was paved, I started thinking, my gosh, a car could drive on this. And if I was thinking that as I was walking along, I can just imagine that some teenager with nothing much to do may decide to use it as a slight race course. And so I wanted to bring that to the attention of the city manager who's dealing with the firm that's putting this in, to see if there will be adequate, something that's going to prevent that from becoming a very attractive place for teens to experiment on their driving skills. So that's all that I had to bring to the attention of our council. Thank you.
Councilwoman Williams. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a couple of things I wanted to comment on based upon what I've heard from our community. And I do appreciate community members coming here to our city council because you bring to light some things that we may not have thought about. I know Mr. Smith wondered whether the council had heard about this previously. No, all council members have not. Just like you, I heard about it, recently when it was on the news. And also I wanted to bring to light that the school system and the city council are two entirely separate entities. So if something happens within the school system, whether it's the middle school, high school, whatever, it is up to the school system, the Harperwood Board of Education and the superintendent, to handle anything that's related to the schools. That is their job. Just like our job is to direct things that relates to the city. So they are two entirely, completely different entities. Okay. The police, of course, responds to both. And of course the mayor has contact with both. So they are completely different entities. Okay. So however Superintendent McGee responded, that's part of the school system. And they will respond to that, not us. Okay, because completely separate. We respond to city issues. But the school system is completely, up to the Board of Education and the superintendent. Orange tags. I know that in the past, especially during a couple of years during COVID, I did not see that much police interaction. Well, not ordinance interaction, okay? But I have seen a couple of orange tags out now. I've driven by, I've seen a couple of, some of those tags. I was very glad to finally see them because I guess it took a while before ordinance started to do that. But I do see it happening now. Something else. Salter Park. I also drove by Salter Park and saw that the construction was beginning. So I will be really glad when the basketball hoops are complete. Hopefully not too late in the summer because the kids will be out very soon. Police. I had not seen a lot of police presence in the city either. But I will say again, lately, I really have seen, I saw these 2-3 police cars going down my street. I hardly ever see them at all. So I was surprised and I was glad, that they're making their presence, beginning to make their presence in the neighborhood. It may not be what some residents want. You know, we haven't got back to what we were pre-pandemic, pre-COVID, but they are beginning to come back. Police are beginning to do their jobs, you know. You should start seeing them in the neighborhoods, because like I say, I started to actually see them. So I'm not going to say they're not doing anything. They are there. And sidewalk repair, I know the woman walked out already, but she complained about the sidewalks. For several months, I've been asking about sidewalk repair, hoping that we get funds, like ARPA funds or something, to start fixing our sidewalks. So that's something that we could do for the residents. Like I mentioned before about the trees, you know, always pushing up the sidewalks, and that, you know, maybe we can start fixing some of them. And the last one is the charter committee. We have a charter committee now, and I know some members have been asking me, at least one member for sure, have been asking me, when are we going to start? So I'm wondering that too. So when are we going to start? Hopefully we're going to start soon working on that charter. And that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Jennings.
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Pies.
Excuse me. The report that we had earlier about assessing the fire services, I remember when that came before council, passed a resolution to have that done. I asked about that, and I was informed that it was going to be both public safety and fire services, and what I've seen today is just fire services. So are we going to have any kind of an assessment of our police services?
Well, we're going to take it one step at a time at this point. We wanted to see what was out there from an unbiased, viewpoint. In the past, when the city put out reports, you either had one side or another, complaining that they were done internally. So we're going to take this report, we're going to look at it, examine what our options are, and then come back. Yeah, we are working on some police things right now, but nothing has shaped up permanent. This is a big piece of it right here. This will determine a lot to do with our police services too. We want to give better services to the community. That's what we're looking at. So.
Thank you.
Okay, being that it's my turn to finally speak, first of all, I will address the fact that I have been in negotiations with Wayne County Sheriffs and Detroit Police and the state police to help us police our city. All that takes time. It's not no instantaneous thing. And for you to say that I hadn't done my job, I failed, well, I take really offense to that, because you don't know what process I have to go through to get anything done here in the city. And when you're working with other entities, then you have to work at their pace and not yours. So I'm working on it. I'm working with my Director of Public Safety, and we're trying to get this done because we need it done in the worst way. Second of all, you, Mr. Smith, stated that I failed. Well, you don't know the whole story, because you're saying, you say March 17th was when I knew about it. I had no knowledge of this until a couple of days before Mother's Day. And wait just a moment. I let you speak. I let you speak. I let you speak.
You have to be accurate if you're speaking, Ms. Mayor.
Well, I didn't interrupt you. I allowed you to say what you had to say. So that no. You can't tell me when I was talked to with Superintendent McGee, because you were not there. I know when I spoke to him. And when I did speak to him, I came back and had a conversation with our acting city manager. And we spoke with Mr. Jennings afterwards, after a city council meeting. And so we waited to see what was going to transpire. And so then we called the meeting with Mr. McGee after he had filed the police report. So that's the way our timeline is. And as the police can verify, that is the way that we operated. So as you said before, what happens in the school district is not our problem. We have two different entities. And so we operate the city, and Mr. McGee operates the school board. If we work together on the issue, that is wonderful. But this was not a time that he chose to work with us before going to the news media. So that's, I'm just saying that's the way it stands with me. I have my truth, you have yours, and we can agree to disagree. As there no other business, I ask Mr. Jennings.
You have to mention our Juneteenth.
Oh, no. Okay. Juneteenth celebration will be, our city-sponsored Juneteenth celebration will be June 19th at Wayne Community College. There will be a gospel cakewalk and all sorts of things and food trucks. From 1 to 4. And if you care to participate, we would love to have you there to enjoy the Juneteenth celebration that we originally started this community. In fact, we were one of the first communities that did a citywide Juneteenth celebration. So we're keeping up with the tradition, and we ask if you all would like to come, please come and enjoy our Juneteenth celebration. Adjournment, Mr.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make the motion for adjournment.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.